Hello everyone. I am going to start this video with some mundane life background about me, but I promise it's relevant. Don't click out, okay? Just hang in there. I have lived most of my life in Wisconsin, where summers are usually in the 70s and 80s temperature-wise. 3 years ago, I moved to DC, which is notably hotter in the summer. It's typically more like 80s and 90s. I have still spent most of the past 2 summers actually in Wisconsin, but this year I'm spending it here in DC. And as it has warmed up here, I have realized, despite my wardrobe's many wonderful qualities, it frankly had me absolutely fighting for my life in this hot summer weather. So I have spent some dedicated time and effort over the past month or two hunting in the thrift stores for cute pieces that would really hold up to the heat here. This collective haul is actually everything I have personally bought for my wardrobe over the past several months, plus a couple fun gifts at the end. But most of it was bought in the past month or two specifically for summer. I also just want to say at the top, this collective haul does involve a couple things that I bought new. The majority is thrifted, but not everything, so I will say where I got things as they come up. All right, let's get started. First, we're gonna go through some tops, starting with this lovely little poofy peasant blouse. I've mentioned in recent videos that I've been wanting more blouses with color and pattern instead of just plain white. Clearly, plain white poofy blouses are already part of my wardrobe. And listen, this one is still white, but it has a cute little red floral pattern, so I would style it in a totally different way, totally different context than the plain white ones. I love this warm red color and this flower print. It feels kind of classic, but also kind of playful and whimsical. And I also love the round sort of poofy peasant blouse shape. Famously, I love a poofy shape. Again, I didn't even plan this, but it really is exemplifying my point here. I love the drawstring gathered neckline, the puffy sleeves, the puffy body shape. I've also been wanting clothes that will protect my skin from the sun, but still keep me cool enough in hot weather. And this is great because it has sleeves to protect my shoulders, but it's light and flowy so it won't be suffocating on my skin, and it's a cotton linen blend, so super breathable in the heat. Okay, this next top I've already shown in a couple videos, so I'm gonna be quick with it, but it's one of my favorites in this haul, this plaid sleeveless button down. I recently thrifted this, and then I also did a little alteration to it in a recent thrift flips video. I'll link that up here if you're interested. And I've already been wearing it and loving it so much for summer. The thing I probably love most about this top is the fabric. It's incredibly lightweight, soft, thin, breathable cotton. I also like that this top feels a little more elevated than like a basic, plain, sporty, stretchy tank top, which I have a lot of. It just adds a little more interest and detail to an outfit. And I like that this covers a little more of my skin than a more typical tank top. Great for the summer sun. This is honestly the perfect example of something I didn't know I wanted until I found it. I was not looking for a plaid tank top or like a sleeveless button down in particular, but when I found this, I was like, a color and pattern I love. Amazing fabric. I know I like button-ups in general. I don't have many blousy tank tops. This could be the perfect thing to fill a hole in my wardrobe. Sometimes when you find something that perfectly fits all your style preferences and fits you great and fits your lifestyle great, you just gotta grab it when you have the chance. I said I was gonna keep that short, and then I feel like I talked for several minutes. Sorry, I have a lot to say. Okay, next we have an item that's not exactly a top, but it is a top half layering piece. This little shrug. I mentioned in a recent video, I was thinking of giving summer knits a try because I really wanted like a knit little shrug to layer with summer outfits and add a little more interest and also protect my shoulders from the sun but still be really light. And then randomly at the thrift store, I happened across this item, which isn't exactly what I was picturing, but I thought it could work perfectly for the function that I had in mind. It's not even knitted, but I was like, maybe this is even better. I don't know. It's super lightweight. Let's give it a try. I love that this is quite simple and versatile. You know, it's neutral, but it's also quite different from anything else I have in my wardrobe. I also love the long dangling ties and the little drawstrings at the sleeves. They add such a fun detail. These ties are so long that I think maybe you're actually supposed to tie them like around the back. I'm not totally sure, but I like it both ways. I kind of love the drama of the long ties and also the long shoulder bows, you know? The one drawback to this piece is, you all know I prefer natural fibers, especially for summer. I'm actually deeply annoying about it at this point. I bring it up too often. And this piece is 70% viscose and 30% nylon. So viscose is fine. It's like a semi-synthetic. It can be great in the summer, but I'm just hoping the nylon in this blend doesn't end up making it stifling or like make me too sweaty or make me too smelly when I wear it. It feels good though, very light and soft and thin. So fingers crossed. If it doesn't work out, it was $5. Next up, we have another item that I adjusted a little bit in my recent thrift flips video, this Paisley dress. When I found this at the thrift store, I was drawn right away to the blue, the Paisley print, the cotton fabric, and then when I tried it on, I just completely fell in love with this cut, this silhouette, everything. It can be so hard to find a dress in an exact cut and fit and silhouette that you love on your body. I can't even tell you how many dresses I've tried on at the thrift and then rejected because the fit and cut were just wrong on me, not what I like. But the minute I put this on, I felt so good. I love the higher neckline, the placement of the straps, the fit and flare shape, and that the fitted part is somewhat fitted to my body, but not like skin tight. Just everything about it really is like exactly what I would choose. Its only flaw was being just like a titch too long, but I hemmed it recently and now it's perfect. I also have very few sleeveless short summer dresses, so I appreciate that this aligns very much with what I like in a dress while also adding a little new variation to my closet. Our next piece is a skirt. This is the item in this haul that I bought the most recently, and it is also the one I'm most excited about, maybe because I just got it, but it is this gorgeous Paisley midi skirt. This is just so my style in every way. I love long flowy skirts. I wear them so often and this pattern is just perfect to me. I love Paisley. I love a sort of vibrant yet muddled pattern. And these colors are literally the exact color palette of my wardrobe. It's like all my favorite colors to wear combined together. It's also quite lightweight, so I'm hoping it will work well for summer. I mentioned recently in a video that I have several long skirts, but I realized only a couple of them were really light and airy enough to work in the heat. So I'm hoping this skirt can add another tally to that number. I actually almost never look at skirts at the thrift store these days, just because I feel like I'm pretty good on skirts. I have a wide array that I really like, and I feel like the options are often very slim at my thrift store. Like I used to look and I didn't find anything, so I just stopped looking. But recently I was thrifting with a friend and she wanted to look at skirts, and as luck would have it, I also found something perfect for me. She also had great success in the skirt department, so may this serve as a sign to check that area of the thrift store that you usually ignore, because your perfect treasure might be waiting there. All right, now we are moving into more casual tops, starting with this basic blue tank top. If you're thinking that this looks familiar, it might be because I actually got a very similar plain cropped blue tank top from ThredUp in a sponsored video with them a few months ago. But while I was waiting for that order to ship, I found this one at the thrift store, and I had been looking for like the perfect plain baby blue tank top. And so I thought I'll just grab this one too, see which one is better. And they're actually both great, and one is cropped and one isn't. And I realized that's actually very helpful to have in my wardrobe. So I've just kept both, and I've already worn them both numerous times. I love simple, stretchy fitted cotton tank tops for the summer. I had a few neutral ones already that I wear a ton, and this exact shade of blue is my favorite color to wear and just my favorite color in general. So sometimes duplicates are great if they are your exact style of everyday basic. To finish off the tops, we just have a few t-shirts. I actually showed all three of these already in my recent thrift flips video because I cropped all three of them. But first we have this navy Pompeii t-shirt. I'm just always on the lookout at the thrift for comfy t-shirts with cool, versatile graphics, and this fit the bill. I love that it's a tourist tee for an archaeological site. Tourist tees tend to be the ones I pick up at the thrift stores. I feel like they often have the best graphics. I've never been there, which is the case for most of my thrifted tourist tees, but would love to go someday. All right, the last two t-shirts were actually bought new. Firstly, we have this white one with a black screen printed graphic of a herd of horses running that says "Wild Horses for Total Liberation." Excellent. I got this from a booth at like a leftist book fair. The maker at the booth had screen printed it themselves, which is very cool. I did screen printing in college for my art minor and I loved it. So I have a special attachment to the art form. And I love this. It's incredibly soft. 10 out of 10 purchase. And then for my last t-shirt, I went to a Seawolf concert with my boyfriend last month. 2010's indie folk gang Rise Up, and I got this merch shirt. And I also met one of you at that concert. That was exciting. Hi, Hannah, if you're watching. This is just another great subtle graphic tee. I like that this one has a little green on it because I wear a lot of green, but none of my t-shirts in my wardrobe actually have any green. So I think this will mesh into my wardrobe nicely. All right, now we have some thrifted shoes, and I gotta be so real with you all. One of these to me is like a holy grail thrift find, and the other is kind of a thrift fail, a flop, unfortunately. Let's do the flop first, and then we can redeem the situation. Okay, so firstly we have these red leather loafers with little gold studs on them and a little pointed toe. These are gorgeous to me. I love how they look. They're nothing like anything else in my wardrobe, and I just know they would add such a great, elevated, unique pop to an outfit. But the thing is, one, they are very rigid, so they're kind of strange to walk in because they just don't like flex very well with my foot. Two, they have virtually no support. They're very flat, and my arches really just need a thicker sole to support them. And three, maybe worst of all, they keep shedding some sort of little red flecks of material and also red dye or paint onto my socks and my feet. The thing about these shoes is that I actually knew most of these flaws when I bought them. Not the shedding one, that I discovered later. But I knew they weren't really ideal for me. But the thing is, I found them at this like community outreach center thrift store. The thrift store supports this nonprofit community work. So it was a good cause. And it was also a very small thrift store. It was just like one little room. And I spent so long in there that I was like, I simply can't leave without buying something. I've been in here for over an hour. I've used the fitting room multiple times and no one else was in there as long as I was in there. So I got scared and I felt like I had to buy something. And ultimately these shoes were the most beautiful thing I found that actually fit me. And they were $7 and I was like, okay, I will give my $7 to this community outreach center. Great. I have worn them out once since getting them, and they actually weren't that bad on my feet, but that is when I discovered the shedding problem. So now I don't really know what to do with them. Probably I just should let them go unless someone knows a great solution to very rigid shoes and also to shoes that shed onto your feet and your socks. They are gorgeous, but not super wearable. Genuinely, if any of you know a solution, that would be amazing. Let me know if you have the solution I seek. Luckily, we have our redemption with the next pair of shoes. Some of you may see these and not really get the vision. They might be giving geriatric realness to some of you. But when I saw these, I literally beelined across the thrift store to try them on. They are the chunky brown Mary Janes of my dreams. I love the thick, chunky sole. I love the rounded toe shape, the brown leather, the buckle straps, everything about them, really. I love the look of chunky Mary Janes. I have always admired the Doc Marten ones, you know, this vibe, but I've just never pursued them because I didn't think I would find them at the thrift store. But these give such a similar vibe to me, and I'm so happy with them. These ones are the brand Dansko, which I think of as sort of an orthopedic grandma brand. I don't know if that's accurate, but I love an orthopedic grandma shoe. My feet need that. They also just feel great to wear. I also mentioned in a recent video that I've become kind of a clogs convert. I thought I didn't like them, but now I've decided I do like them. And part of my realization was with these shoes because they're sort of a Mary Jane clog hybrid and I actually really love them. Okay, now we're getting into accessories, starting with these red tortoiseshell sunglasses. I just think cool sunglasses are such a great accessory, especially in the summer. I have a small collection of maybe like 4 pairs. I used to have more. Weird sunglasses were kind of like a thing for me in college. And I don't know what happened to some of them. A lot of them probably broke over the years, but I haven't added to the collection in a very long time. So when I saw these at the thrift store and they spoke to me, I decided to just go for it. I like the thick rectangle shape. I don't have any other sunglasses with that shape. I like the color and pattern. They're a little more fun and playful, but still subdued and subtle enough to be quite versatile. And according to my wardrobe tracking on the Index app, I've already worn them 16 times. Safe to say they've been my favorite for the season so far. Next, we have an accessory that has been on my wish list for months. Seems simple, but it took me a bit to find it. A light, breathable, classic blue bandana. And I actually ended up finding this at a vintage seller stall at like a spring market festival. And it was only $1. I love little square scarves and bandanas for accessorizing. Tied in my hair, around my neck, around my waist, tied to my bag. There are so many great ways to use them. They're so versatile. And like I said, blue is my favorite color to wear. It features prominently in my wardrobe. So I knew the blue one would work with so many different outfits in my closet. Also, this thing is incredibly soft and lightweight. I like can't even describe it. It's 100% viscose or rayon or something. So just picture like the lightest, most buttery soft version of that you could imagine. And that's how it feels. It's so good. Our next accessory is just one more bandana. I've really been on a bandana little scarf kick lately. And this one is everything to me. Look at this. It is a camping themed board game printed onto a bandana. I mean, that's just so good. I love this so much. Honestly, this color scheme is not something I would necessarily normally wear. And I did hem and haw about this for a bit at the thrift store, but I figured it would be so fun and cute. Even if I only use it for camping or I use it for decor or something, or even just to play the little board game. And it was $1, so I just could not leave it behind. And you know what? I've actually gotten more excited about it and more inspired to style it since buying it. You know how sometimes when you're shopping, you're like so excited to buy something and then you have it and then your enthusiasm sort of wanes over time? time. And then other times you buy something or end up with something that you're a little uncertain about, and then you end up loving it later. This is definitely the second one. This haul actually has a lot of pieces for whom my love and appreciation has only grown over time. Finally, our last accessory is kind of boring. It's really more of a practical purchase than a fashion purchase, but I do also think it's cute. It's this bag. Really, I just wanted a bag big enough to fit my computer so I could bring it to the library or a coffee shop or something to work. Specifically, something that had a designated little like laptop pocket or section inside instead of just having my laptop loose, like raw dogging a big tote bag. I was surprised how hard that was to find secondhand, honestly. I've been looking for something like this for ages, but finally I found it. Quite new too, in great condition. And I like the canvas material and this very like warm, goldish, orangish, brownish color. It feels quite aligned with my style in addition to its functionality. All right, now we are moving on to some jewelry, starting with this pair of quite sculptural white beaded earrings. I don't know what it is, but lately I've just been so sick of all my basic, simple metallic earrings. Actually, I do know what it is. It's that I watched Nisa Pisa's earring collection video and got really inspired because she has a really gorgeous, cool earring collection. She's also just one of my favorite YouTubers. Anyway, I feel like I wear the same like 2 pairs of earrings constantly. And I was really just craving a new style to shake things up. Give me something more statement. And this pair was just deeply calling to me at the thrift store. I love that they are so statement, kind of sculptural. They're big, but they also have a lot of like small detail to them. And I like that they're still neutral enough in color to be versatile, but the shape is still quite bold. And I love that they're different from all my metallic earrings, but they still add a little sparkle or shine to a look, because I think that's what jewelry really adds to an outfit for me usually. So I love getting that same effect with a different material. I just think these are the perfect statement earring with a very simple outfit, which is also perfect for summertime because outfits tend to be simpler in the summer. I think these are going to be amazing year round though. Next, my other non-thrifted item in this collective haul is this bracelet, which I got from a jewelry stall at a local like spring market, different market than the one where I got the bandana. This one was made by the person at the stall, and I just think it's so lovely. It's so dainty. It's such a good little accent, but it still has like a fun detail to it. It has some interest through the little charm. I love this warm red color. And inside that little charm, it's not just a charm, it's resin preserving some tiny little pressed flowers. Isn't that so cute? They're so tiny. They're so magical. I feel like a fairy would wear this. I don't know. The whimsy of this being pressed flowers elevates it in my eyes. I also love this clasp mechanism. I've never seen one like this before, but I love that I can tighten or loosen it very easily, but then it stays in place. I feel like stuff like this is always, you know, slipping open, but this one seems quite sturdy. So I love that. Honestly, I don't wear a ton of bracelets, but I've been feeling more into them lately, and I have actually been wearing them more lately. So I decided to give this one a try. Okay, so that is actually everything I have bought myself for my wardrobe in the past several months. But now I'm just going to share a few gifts at the end here, which I don't usually include in my collective hauls. But a lot of these just have kind of a cool backstory and they're just lovely pieces, so I wanted to share. Firstly, I recently took a little trip to visit my family in Wisconsin, and while I was there, I was granted the opportunity to look through a bunch of my grandma's old jewelry. Some of it I think also belonged to a great aunt or maybe other women of past generations in my family. So that in and of itself is just quite special and exciting. And I also left with a little treasure trove of pieces. I'm not going to go over every piece individually because we'd be here all day, but I will show them all on screen. Honestly, I think my grandma's taste and my taste in jewelry are not dissimilar because so many of these are similar to jewelry I already have and wear. A lot of them feel like new variations on the established themes in my style. We've got some interesting beads and colors, but also a lot of neutral metallics with interesting shapes or textures or details. So I love that. I love the connection to my grandma and my family. And I've already been loving wearing so many of these pieces. I've been wearing a few throughout this video. The next item was a gift from a Depop seller who reached out to ask if she could send me something. And what I think is so cool about her work is that she gets old jewelry secondhand and then reworks the materials to upcycle them into new pieces. So creative, so smart, such a great use of upcycling. I love this whole concept. And I absolutely love this necklace she sent me. So beautiful, so very my style. It also feels quite sturdy and just well made. And knowing that it's made of like found secondhand materials just makes it that much cooler to me. I will of course link the shop and her Instagram in the description. Safe to say, I'm a fan. Laura, if you're watching, thank you so much for sending this. I truly love it. Our next gift is actually a selection of pieces making up a whole outfit. And this was actually for a media thing. I don't think I can share any more than that at the moment. I was given a little budget to go thrift a new outfit. And of course, I tried to go for things that would all work together, but that would also all work with the rest of my wardrobe, fill gaps in my wardrobe. And this is what I got. Firstly, the star of the show is this dress. This is literally like the 90s summer dress of my dreams. I think it looks so great on, but it's also so comfortable. It feels sort of like effortless and elegant, but also still casual enough for every day. Like I could wear this for dinner out, but also to the farmer's market, you know? Then for shoes, I love a chunky sandal. These feel a little more sleek and modern than some of my other more like 90s, 2000s looking sandals, but they also have a bit of a 70s feel to them. And again, they feel like they could be dressed up or down, which I like. For a bag, I actually showed this in my last video. I added a small black leather crossbody bag, which I could also just use as a top handle. I've been looking for a more casual small black crossbody, and I like the sort of slouchy shape of this. Then, you know, I had to accessorize. Incredibly, I happened to find this gold chain belt on this day, which I think goes great with this look. I also like that it ties in with the slightly like 70s vibe of the sandals. And of course, I had to finish it off with some chunky earrings and a weird, funky little necklace. My favorite thing. I was so stoked to find this necklace in particular. It is so cool and unique and so up my alley style-wise. And then these earrings are another nice dress up or dress down kind of option. And I especially love when they move, that they sort of shimmer like the surface of water or like those leaves that, you know, almost look like they're glittering in the wind. You know what I'm talking about. Sort of an ethereal vibe with these. Finally, I just visited my friend in Indianapolis, and she was in India earlier this year visiting her sister who's living there right now. And without even knowing that we were going to see each other later this year, she got me this shirt, which is just so sweet and kind of thoughtful. And also, isn't this so dang cute? It's like a little cropped collared overshirt. And then it has this little embroidery down here, which is just such a great touch. I might eventually try to add buttons to this because I would love to be able to wear it open or closed, but I love a little open overshirt button up too. So this is great. All right, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for watching and letting me show you my little collection of all my beautiful treasures that I've collected recently. And I heard if you leave a comment, watch another video, and subscribe to the channel, your friend who's doing some international travel will get you a beautiful and fashionable gift while they're there. Okay, thanks for watching. Bye!